Hi again, this is Kay with Cafe with another episode of The Stories We Weave. Today we are speaking with Krystal King and her daughter Lena. Thank you so much for joining us. So Krystal, you're a parent and you're a student at Intercom High School, and we want to share and uplift your stories of your family. But first and foremost, please introduce yourselves to the community. Krystal.
My name is Krystal King. I professionally am an early childhood educator. I work with ages 0 through 9. I own a preschool here in Natomas. A huge demographic of my families are disenfranchised. We've been in Natomas nearly 20 years now. Yeah, 2 children have already matriculated through Natomas Unified School District.
My name is Lena, and I go to Intercom High School.
We want to share your story of how you came to Natomas and, your cultures and your traditions.
I don't meet many people from Sacramento, but I'm from Sacramento. I was born and raised here. My father's family is from the South, and my grandfather was in the military, and he had an opportunity to go to, I don't even remember the other place, or come to California. So, of course, being from Mobile, Alabama, they're like, oh, we want to go to California. And so we moved here. There's a base in North Highlands, McClellan Air Force Base, well, there was. And so I grew up here. As I grew up and got older and began dating, I met this wonderful man, and we wanted to start our lives together. I wanted to stay in North Highlands, Foothill Farms, Antelope area, and he was like, oh, no, absolutely not. There's this wonderful community. He already lived here in Natomas, and so we started our lives and our family here in Natomas nearly 20 years ago.
How does that sound, hearing about your parents' story coming to Natomas?
It's inspirational. I hope that one day I can find someone and settle down with and have the family community that I get to enjoy, so.
I get the sense that family is very important to the two of you, especially because you had mentioned you have a large family.
Very large family.
And with such a large family, how do you instill your culture and your values with your children?
I think that it's something that's taught and modeled. I think back to my grandparents, my parents, and the community that was around us. It was very much instilled in us that you serve each other and you serve the community. And so as we kind of tapped in a little bit before, we're just all very entwined. My brother lives 4 minutes from me. My mother lives 3 minutes. If it was up to me, she'd live with me. My cousins are very close by, and we're just very involved in one another's lives. And so it was modeled to us, and it's what we model to our children. In our household, we always say, well, you are your brother's keeper. You are your sister's keeper. Go check it. If you can't tell me, tell them, and we'll figure it out together.
How do you self-identify your ethnic background?
Yes, we are African-American, Black. Yes, we're Black. Okay. Yeah. From the South. My husband's from the South. My parents are from the South, and my cousin always says we're Southern girls, but we happen to be raised in California. Yeah.
For you, how important is it to share with your community your culture, your African-American Black culture?
Yeah, I think it's really important just to be authentically me, so that anytime that I'm just around, just spreading my culture around with friends at school, or around the things I do, cheer, soccer, just in those places. It's really important to me.
You had mentioned that one of the things that your family likes to do is get together. So can you share with our viewers how you all get together and how that's a part of your family and your culture?
So some of us are spread out now. As I mentioned before, some of my cousins, they're from here in Sacramento, California, but they moved to the East Coast to go to HBCUs, and then they found love and they just kind of stayed planted there. They went to Morgan State. Shout out to Morgan State. And so we have to be very intentional in our practices because we're all adults now. My birthday was yesterday, and my cousins, I call them my sister cousins because they really are the sisters that I didn't have. We were always together. We had one name, Tony, Mimi, Krystal, Aaron. We were always together in everything. And so we have to be very intentional, especially when the pandemic happened. Normally we'd be flying out, and that all kind of ceased, but we were thank God for technology, we were on the FaceTime calls, bringing in the new year together. Now that it's subsided, we're able to travel more together. We just went on a huge family vacation to where did we go? We went to Mexico, we went to New Orleans, we went to Belize, and we just traveled together. All of our cousins and our children, we all have families now, coming together to have time together and bringing our parents with us. So not only were our parents with us, our children were with us, and it's just 3 generations just celebrating each other, our accomplishments. We started from here, and we've really worked very hard to get to all of us respectively to where we are. And so we're just very intentional in making time for each other. My aunt was just traveling and she just got back, and I'm like, hey auntie, just checking in on you. Are you okay? Do you need anything? She had got COVID when it first came out. My cousins were in the East Coast and they couldn't get to her. They tapped in with me. Hey, of course I'm going to check on your mom. Of course I'm taking her food. And that's just how we are.
Is there a tradition that you'd like to share with us that when you all get together, what do you do?
So there's obviously food, lots of food, and singing. My grandmother, we shared briefly before, it's just really a legacy of educating. So, but she also was a music teacher. And so it's a lot of singing. We really love the classics, all the musicals, anything Bing Crosby sang. We know the songs, Sound of Music. So it's a lot. The Wiz. My kids have just been, Wicked came out, and I had to show them all the movies before. I know all the songs because my grandmother taught all of us how to play the piano. And she also taught all of us how to sing. My children have been in choirs at their churches. And then, again, the food. One of the things we do, especially around special occasions, holidays, I call it a green picking party. And I can remember sitting out with my grandmother picking greens and snapping, green beans and getting them washed. Chitlins, I don't eat those, but she made me wash them. And so those are just some of the traditions that we've carried on, and we just all come together. When you're feeding 40 or 50 people, that's a lot of greens, coming together. And I don't know if you've ever seen a green. I'm sure you know what kale is, but a collard green is like a huge leaf, and kale is also a green, and you have to fold it and pull it off, and you want to get all that green, and then just the cooking together. Our kids love to cook because we're always in the kitchen. So it's really, that is where the heart of the family time together. We're eating, we're singing, we're laughing. On New Year's is a huge African American Black tradition to make black eyed peas. It means to bring good luck. So delicious. My kids love them. They want me to make them year round, and I will occasionally, but especially on the new year to bring in that luck. And so we're making the collard greens, we're making the black eyed peas, their favorite, macaroni and cheese. And I'm making sure that they know how to do it. Even my 9-year-old daughter, how to season it, because we don't necessarily follow a recipe. It's just in our mind. Yes. And it's a smell and it's a taste, and they come taste this, and ooh, yes, mama, that's it. And so just sharing that time and those traditions.
What have you picked on? What have you picked up rather from your family and your mom's traditions?
I would say probably the yams. I think this year on Christmas and Thanksgiving, I was the one that was like taking the skin off the yams and seasoning them, and that's also one of my favorite dishes that she makes. So that's kind of what I do around that time. So
you two have made me really hungry, and I'm hoping that you invite me to one of your family parties because it sounds lovely. Mm-hmm. I'm so grateful that you joined us today and to share your intentional efforts to spend time with your family. Sounds so beautiful. Thank you. With that said, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just think that family to me is interchangeable with community. And Natomas is such a wonderful community. A while back, we had a fire when we lived over on Innovator. Our house caught on fire. Nothing intentional, just wires old, rubbing together, fire. And I remember, I get a little emotional. I remember how the community surrounded us, from our soccer team, our kids play soccer, the coaches, the families, the school members, how the social worker from the school immediately was involved, making sure our children had services, making sure transportation, just the community. And so I love Natomas, and it is a second family to us, and we're so happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed hearing about your family, and again, sounds beautiful and delicious. So thank you again for joining us. This podcast is available on video as well as audio podcasts. All right, everyone. See you later. Bye. This podcast has been a production of the Natomas Unified School District. For all the latest NUSD news, visit natomasunified.org.